morning, everybody, and welcome to breakfast. Board game breakfast, that is. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Good morning, folks.
I'm the podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore. Hey.
Alrighty, well, we want to do a quick shout out to some of our Kickstarter backers. We want to thank you all for backing the show. We have Pell from Uppsala, Juraj and Mira, Game Toppers wants us to give a shout out to all the first responders out there, and Greg Leask. Thank you all for sponsoring the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you.
It is 11/12, November 12th, or if you're in Europe, it's 12/11. That's something, I used to get super confused by that. Then someone pointed out it made more sense because you did the day, then the week, then the year. Things got the day, then the month and year, they got progressively bigger. But
yes,
the U.S. might be literally the only place in the world that still does it like that, right?
Yes, because we have to be different about everything.
No, I don't think it's that we have to be different. It's just that people don't want to change. Changing over can be very tricky.
This is true.
This is true. But anyway, folks, we got a lot of board games and things to talk about. So as always, we're going to start with a couple of our contributors. Here we go.
This is a segment where we take a look at a game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP matches with the mechanisms and whether it's a game I can recommend for you. Today we're looking at Shadowrun Crossfire, and this game came out on the heels of the Pathfinder adventure game, and it was this idea that people would want a cooperative game where you're going through and you're leveling up like an RPG. And this game uses a stickering system where as you move up, you're able to add stickers onto your weapons and your person, and you're able to level up until you die, then you start all over, but theoretically, you're getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on. This uses a card system, kind of like a deck builder, where you're adding cards into your deck and getting more weapons, and you're cooperatively trying to accomplish the goals of the game and get through the levels. Where this game kind of fails is you're really just matching icons. Now, as the IP, the art looks great. I think everything looks great in it. It really brings you in from the art and the graphic design of it. But the gameplay is going to jerk you right out. This ideology of just matching icons to defeat things was kind of boring to me. It wasn't something I wanted to play. I wasn't a huge fan of the Pathfinder adventure game. And this one let me down also. It wasn't something that I had a lot of fun with. Cooperatively, it was okay, but man, was it a grind to level up, and something I ended up giving up on. And I think that's why you don't hear a lot about this game. If you like Shadowrun, all the artwork is there. I think that will kind of pull you in. And if you're willing to grind a little bit, and that grinding doesn't bother you, with some people it doesn't. It wasn't for me, but it may be for you. I think that will go up a little bit for you. This was kind of like a 3 for me on a BGG scale. Not something I'd recommend. But if you like Shadowrun, this will go up for you. But I think that matching the icon thing will kind of grind on you after a while. The slow progression of your character, you never get that big build-up that you're looking for. So I think you would leave this one disappointed. It's not one I can recommend and one I would definitely purge.
Before I start this, Podfather, what are you doing? With the guy on the left, the Z, and with the guy on the right, I don't know what his name is, but he's a funny-looking guy. He's not part of our thing here, you know what I'm saying? So, look, Antoinette and Giancarlo, they say hello, huh? Think about it. Call me. We'll forget everything. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna have a sit-down, okay? Podfather, please. Come to your senses. Join us next week when the Podfather says, Shut up! And our reply is, next week on As the Stomach Turns. Hey, don't forget the cannoli. Now you're probably wondering, what the hey was all that? Well, this is it. Mare Nostrum, right? A game published by Academy Games, designed by Serge Laget. That's the way it's pronounced, not Leggett. It's Laget. Trust me, I know. So, what's the connection? Well, the connection is you're building empires, just like the Podfathers kind of work. And you're trading. Buying and selling, moving in, different leaders, different stuff. Same thing. Check it out. First of all, let me tell you, components, awesome. Box, awesome. Rulebook, I think it's 6 pages with big pictures. And check this out. That's the setup page for 3 to 5 players. This is a 3 to 5 player game. How do you win this game? Well, be the first one to build the pyramids, wonders, 3-4 ways to win the game. And you're going to have coins, you're going to have a caravan of camels where you can go from province to province, where you can buy markets, cities, temples, stuff like that. And if some guy next to you doesn't want to sell it, well, the Podfather knows. Shut up! You move in! And then you make him pay taxes for it! Well, look at that beautiful map, huh? The Mediterranean, the Adriatic Sea, the Mediterranean. And look at that. That boot, that's La Bella Italia. And just off that little coast here, there's an island called Capri. It's called the living room of the world! And you start off with a couple of heroes like Kaiser and Cleopatra, Hannibal and Pericles, and guess who used to go to Capri? Caesar and Cleopatra! It comes with a nice plastic insert so you can rearrange your box. If you want, you could paint all your minis, go crazy, do as you wish, but they don't come painted. So Mare Nostrum Empires by Academy Games, all their games are well built. This is a Civ game, right? There's diplomacy, and if you don't want to be diplomatic, you don't have to be. See you later.
Alrighty, folks, let's jump into the news, and we're going to start with what is, in my opinion, one of the nicest board game box covers I've ever seen, if not the nicest.
The nicest.
Or dive. This is an amazingly beautiful box cover. It's a new game coming from Sit Down. It has transparent cards in it, and you're diving. I don't know much about the game. You're it looks like you're pushing your luck a little bit to see how far down you can go. Sit Down tends to make real-time games. I don't think this is one of them. And I don't even know, the game looks okay, right? It looks interesting, but man, that cover is just phenomenal.
I like the cover, and I like the whole look of the screens and all that beautiful blue of the ocean there together. So yeah, it's definitely a beautiful looking setup.
It seems like a cover you would like, Z.
I do like it, yeah. I like the font especially. I like that whenever they do both like very artistic and very legible font, and that's clearly like custom made. I like that logo. It's beautiful.
All right, let's jump now to a couple companies with things coming out. First, we're going to start with AEG. Now, this I found to be a little interesting. AEG, as you all know, does not produce a ton of games each year. They've scaled back to doing a few games, but really putting effort into them. Well, now they have announced a whole bunch of expansions, and they're all coming out either this month or next, or at least the very beginning of next year. But these look like mini expansions. They look almost like Queenies. That's what Queen calls their little mini expansion, to the point where like there's a smash up and it's a single deck. Or, I'm actually surprised, now that I think about it, I'm surprised they haven't done this with smash up earlier. That seems like a pretty easy thing to do, right? Just sell single decks.
Right. Almost like a booster pack.
AEG was one of the original publishers that started talking about, scaling back their numbers of games, which is a very good strategy in this current market. So, but in doing a bunch of expansions, period, smaller ones especially, they reinvigorate the game for the base game as well. So, like their strategy, good company.
Well, of these 5 expansions that I'm showing here, and there's actually another one too. There's 2 more, The Captain is Dead and Cat Lady. But of the 5 here, 4 of those games are easily evergreens. Smash Up, Space Base, Mystic Vale, and Tiny Towns. All 4 of those are doing very well. I don't know how well Valley of the Kings is doing. And I'm curious if this expansion is just, I'm assuming it only works with that premium edition of Valley of the Kings. But man, I want that. I'm excited about these, especially that Biodome Space Base. I don't know what that is, but I want it. So,
well, you love Space Base, so.
I really do. All right, then another game they announced from AEG called Sheepy Time.
You can never have enough sheep games. I'm making that statement. More sheep games. You need more sheep games.
I have definitely played some really, really bad sheep games in my time. So I'm not sure if I agree with that. But this has a very distinctive art style. What do y'all think of that art style?
Very like Japanese almost, I guess you would say. Like kind of that style. I don't know. It's interesting. I want to know what bad sheep game you've played, because I bet I like it since you hate it. What is it?
No, I'm just saying I've played bad ones before.
Can you think of one? I'm just asking. Maybe you can't.
Well, there was this one that was like a ripoff of Star Wars. It was a Logic. I'm trying to remember the name of it exactly.
Okay. All right. In case you remember,
anyhow,
we'll have an argument about sheep games.
Anyhow, and this looks like it might be a kid's game. I'm having a hard time figuring out because it looks like kid's game.
Yeah, but it looks so complicated. That picture, look at that. Look at all that stuff going on.
Right. So maybe I'm always a little worried when there's that disjoint between the cover and the game.
Like, I've heard this was a very heavy 4X game.
Okay, thanks. That's not helpful at all. What are you talking about? Okay. Anyhow, this is coming out.
Speaking,
it's coming out.
Nothing else we've said is helpful either. You know what I mean?
2021.
Not a single thing.
Thank you. Alrighty. Then we got a bunch of games. The Tokyo Game Market is happening this weekend, actually. I guess there's a bit of a physical presence for the Tokyo Game Market and a streaming site. So a bunch of games have been announced for this. Here we have That's It. Which do you like? There's, I guess, another version. That's It. Deep. Which do you like? I'm not sure what the difference is. You have a category. You pick one of two options, and then you score if the group is split evenly. So I like that idea, right? I'm trying to pick two things that I think half the people would like. Like, what's better, Star Wars or Star Trek? So maybe you would get half the people to say one thing and the other half to say another. So do you have to have like an odd number of players? Because that's the only way to get like two other groups, or unless maybe you vote too. Okay, well maybe you don't. Well, yeah, maybe there's that, or even if there is an odd number of players, maybe if it's only one off, it's okay. Like if it's split 4 and 3.
Sure.
I don't know, but I think the concept's interesting.
Sure.
Then we have, man, I can't pronounce this. La Torre di San...
Le Torre di San Gimignano. La mia famiglia da San Gimignano. My family's from San Gimignano.
Your family's from where?
It definitely sounds like they're from there, yeah.
I tried to say my family's from San Gimignano. No, they're from Positano, actually, but that's different. I was actually looking at this, and I was like I was getting my Italian back to just pronounce this a little bit, which I did. Obviously,
this looks like a tower building game, or there's a market. I'm not actually sure, but it looks like a small Euro style game. I like the way those cards are stacking to build a tower. That looks cool. Then we have
this one. I like the look of it.
Sheep and Garden, another sheep game.
More sheep is good. I love it.
This is from the same designers of Little Town Builders, which Yellow released last year as Little Town, not Tiny Towns, Little Town, which was kind of like a kid's worker placement game almost. This one looks Carcassonne-ish from the way it is, but it has I don't dislike that artwork. It has kind of a cute little vibe to it.
It's minimalist.
Yeah.
So I mean and again, these games are all coming from the Japanese Tokyo Toy Fair, right? That's what you said. All of these games are coming out of that. So they're all going to have that similar kind of minimalist Japanese look that they do for a lot of their small games before they normally get to a bigger publisher. Then they sometimes blow out the artwork differently.
Well, this one sounds interesting because you're building 37 tiles here in the middle, and you have an objective, and then you have an objective you're sharing with each of your neighbors, and so you're trying to place the tiles so that it scores for these different objectives. I like that concept, right? You're placing tiles out, trying to help you and everyone else. It seems like a Carcassonne spin-off, but that's good for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the look of this one. This looks neat.
All right, then from Suki Games, we have Hollywood Sensation. You are trying to be a starlet getting fame, but not too much fame. So
this really screams high society to me.
Roaring 20s, like kind of thing. I like it.
And
just after I said that the Japanese artwork is usually minimalist, now they came up with a fully finished style of game there. It looks great, like, early Hollywood production game.
Yeah, but the look of both that font, the composition on the cover, the frame, I mean, looks a lot like the Osprey Games reprint of High Society.
Art Deco is the
Every
style.
year there seems to come a game from the Japanese Game Fair that is weird. We had one that was shaped like a toilet one time. Well, now you get one with a bunch of spoons in it.
Oh, this is, I saw this. I was like, what?
We need to try to bend a spoon. There's not enough information here. It says players compete in a world tournament to demonstrate their supernatural powers by bending the spoon with their psychic abilities. It has nothing to do with the Matrix.
Do you see what see what the name of the game is? Uri Geller. That's what that says there. I'm looking at the note that you have here. The name of the game is Uri Geller. Like, you're going to use your mind to bend those spoons. How do you do it? I mean, you're not really bending them, so what's going on?
Oh, Uri Geller is actually the name of a psychic.
Yeah, very famous psychic that was debunked. Yes, and one of his things, he bent spoons.
Huh. This is so weird looking.
This is the weirdest game I may have ever heard of.
Well, here's the deal. This is a worthwhile game to buy because let's say the game's bad. Hey, set of spoons.
Hey, you got a set of spoons.
To have cutlery, yeah.
I agree. I'm buying this one.
All right, then we have Bomb Squad. This is from Okazu. This is a cooperative game from Hisashi Hayashi. So I know a lot of people are going to be interested in that. Sure. You're dismantling live bombs by trying to find pairs of tiles with the same number. So it sounds like you are working through missions. This sounds almost like The Crew in a sense. This idea of a cooperative with hidden information. I really feel like this is not because of The Crew as much as they're trying to capitalize on that a bit, I would guess.
Yeah, this kind of looks it makes me think of a couple of things. It makes me think of the Time Bomb game a little bit. So it has that sort of look with the cut cables and all of that, but it also, I wonder if those tiles are sort of long, skinny cards or tiles, they're arranged in the picture in order. And I wonder if that's part of the game, where you have to look at, somebody's spread and be like, well, I think there might be a cable that I have to cut somewhere in this little part of the spread, There's been games like that before, and I tend to like that mechanism of having to deduce, basically, where is something,
Yeah, I don't know of all these different games which one I'm most interested in, but that's certainly high on my list. I'd love to see a copy of that one. It's interesting to see how the distribution of these games will be this year, because usually there's the run at Essen where everyone runs for them.
Oh, yes.
And that didn't happen this year. So I'm curious to see how much international recognition these will get.
I would hope that publishers are now reaching out to some of these companies and trying to pick up licenses, get copies of it. The same thing that we would do when we were in Essen. We'd go grab all the copies and bring them home, test them, and then make offers. So I'm sure that's going on behind the scenes right now.
And then the last one, I think, is Sprinkle here, which is sprinkling fruits and nuts. It's an area control game where you're moving flying squirrels to spread seeds, clouds to get water, to try to get victory points in this game and growing trees. I like the theme a lot. It looks like a small Euro-style game.
Yeah, it looks like an abstract to me, like an abstract strategy game. It's with a lot of little sort of bits that move around strategically to control the different areas, maybe. I don't know. It actually looks a little too compact. I worry that stuff's going to get knocked over everywhere. That's what that picture's screaming at me. I
would pick this game up for the squirrel meeples in the game. I want those squirrel meeples there. I see two of them up there. They look great.
What if it was
I think they're called squeeples.
There you go. That's right.
I'm kidding. That's horrible.
I love those things. I love when people do that.
Squeeples. Yes, squeeples are good.
Squeeples.
All right, let's talk about news. This news got me really excited here. Boardgametables.com, who, yes, they still make game tables, but they're really known for their board games now. They're partnering with Quali. this is fantastic. As far as I know, nobody has partnered with Quali, except maybe on, I think, Factory Fun. Did Z-Man do that one?
Yeah. The first one,
I think that may be the only one. And so every year at Essen, this little company called Quali, he would come, have 1,000 games or whatever. People would buy and play them, and a lot of them were very highly regarded, and they were just very difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be publishing 6 games over the next 3 years from him. Factory Funner, which Z likes.
Mm-hmm.
Habitats, I really enjoyed that. Roll to the Top, a good roll and write game. Basket Boss, which is one of my favorite little quirky games.
Mm-hmm.
And Power Ships. I've not played this one. I think Z has, maybe?
I have not played Power Ships. I have played, where is it? Power Boats. I have Power Boats on the shelf.
Power Ships, I think, was the sequel to Power Boats, right?
Yeah, it was like, Power Boats in space, basically, is what it was. I never did get to play it, but I'm excited it's coming back out.
I'm excited that this is happening just because I really like the quality of the games from BoardGameTables.com. They do a good job. And I'm curious what they managed to do to convince Quali, because I'm pretty sure publishers have tried to get his games for years. I'm assuming. But maybe it's the lack of Essen, right? Because that was his thing. He had that little booth at Essen that you went by. He would usually sell out almost like in the first day or two. And I don't know. I'm just really pumped about this.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
No, I agree.
Interesting idea that maybe lack of Essen put him over the top. That's interesting.
Well, I think that's gonna, like I said, I'm curious how that's gonna affect the Japanese publishers. There's a lot of things that happen at Essen that people don't know about.
Oh yeah.
A lot of, when you were at Essen, you didn't do anything except have meetings almost the entire time.
I have, literally, starting on Tuesday, but really from Wednesday, which is not even a show day, I had meetings every half hour the entire day until 7 o'clock when it closes. That's a lot of meetings. So yeah, all of that obviously went away. Hopefully a lot of these publishers did all the networking that they still would be doing. I know that I would have done all the networking that I would have been doing and getting meetings virtually at this time of year.
But there is something to be said for having a meeting with someone half hour in person can be much greater than online. You'll email someone 20 times, but you can get something gets done at these cons.
Absolutely. But of course, we now live in the COVID world where this over, Zoom and Skype and things is just now the norm. So I'm assuming that these things are now happening on a regular basis. I'm on Zoom calls constantly and I'm not even working, right?
All right, the next news I think is the biggest news of the week, even if a lot of people don't notice it, and that is CrowdOx is joining BackerKit. I don't know how to explain how big this is, because this is, as far as I can tell, the number 1 and number 2 of the post Kickstarter things joining together, and they're both highly regarded.
The pledge manager at post Kickstarter world revolves around basically these two companies. And if I may, the publishers right now are in, how do I put this, scramble mode to figure out what this is going to do to the landscape of post Kickstarter pledge management. The news out of the companies is nothing's going to change right now. What is almost for sure is that prices on the publisher side are going to go up. CrowdOx was much cheaper than BackerKit. It looks by all apparentness of this announcement that BackerKit is the acquirer. So it's not truly a merger. BackerKit is acquiring CrowdOx. I didn't use that term, but assuming that's the case, BackerKit is probably going to add. It's going to be CrowdOx is going to become more expensive to kind of equal the BackerKit, and then they'll probably merge the platforms and things like that. So long term, it could be more expensive for publishers. It should not affect the average gamer who backs things. They'll probably end up with a better experience overall, of doing their late pledges and pledge management.
Now, this is not a monopoly. We still have GameFound. We still have Pledge Manager. And of course, some companies use their own system. But I'll tell you, behind the scenes when for our Kickstarter, we use a pledge manager. And the last 2 years, we were going back and forth between BackerKit and CrowdOx, and they were competing with each other. And CrowdOx says, we'll give you this, and BackerKit says this. And we looked at them, and both of them were very highly regarded. Both of them had a few things the other didn't, but they were both really well done. The fact that they're together, you're right. Now they don't compete with each other. So as someone who is on, I'm like, well, I guess, they could raise the prices unless, of course, these other ones like GameFound and Pledge Manager step up the game. But that's how economics works.
That's how it works. I mean, they'll probably become a more expensive option to publishers, but they'll probably give more features to publishers, and therefore they'll be more useful. The other smaller ones just will not have the resources to create as good a platform, most likely. But we'll see. This is more of a long-term play. We're not going to probably see much in the way of any kinds of changes for 6 months or so.
I'm still kind of mind-boggled that Kickstarter hasn't bought one of these companies.
Yeah, I was just thinking that actually. I almost made the joke of now that BackerKit has purchased CrowdOx, along comes Kickstarter and buys BackerKit.
I'll do one better on that. Why hasn't Kickstarter, which is a tremendously rich company, because they just sit back and take in money, tremendously rich company, why haven't they created their own? Period.
Yeah, but why create your own when you can just buy one that's already set up?
Absolutely. But they've had years and years and years of potentially creating their own. Sure, they should go out and buy this company right now. Absolutely. Or
maybe this is the move to set up for a potential purchase.
Absolutely. That's what everybody does.
He said something. Woo! Woo!
Absolutely.
All right.
Tom is all excited. Bonacore agrees with him.
So weird.
He's so weird.
Right.
He's so weird.
Let's get to some more contributors, and we'll be back for a game show where all this good faith will be gone.
Right.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table, where I pair a book and a board game together that share a common theme, and then I get to wear this awesome librarian dress. Woo! I'm going to start off today, as I always do, with my book, and you could be any book by this particular author, but today I'm choosing Raymond Chandler, The Big Sleep, or Farewell, My Lovely, which is also in here. Chandler introduces one of the most iconic PI characters of all time, Philip Marlowe, and it's just 1930s, 1940s, that private investigator. Anytime you think of something in that genre, you're going to think of Philip Marlowe. So I'm going to pair that with something that has like a PI flavor to it, and that is Talon Strike Studios' Shadow Network, designed by Rafael Rosario, 1 to 4 players, and about 75 to 90 minutes. I screw that up every time. This is a prototype that I have here, and it just successfully funded on Kickstarter, so you can late pledge or pre-order it today. We have a little bit later in time period here, but we have the Cold War, and we have a bunch of agents that are going out into the field and they're looking to crack cases. To me, it just seemed very natural to put these two things together because they are so closely related. We have spies and private investigators looking to crack cases. A worker placement style game where you are going out to countries, you are collecting resources that you need to be able to put suitcases together. Happy breakfast!
Hey, welcome back to Grant's Game Rex. Today, I want to recommend the game Curmudgeon. Whoa, why is my name on this game? You see that? That's weird. Oh, this is the game I've been spending the last 4.5 years working on. I totally remember now. This game is sort of like Mad Libs for silly insults, and it really focuses on the silly and the funny, not on the mean. I think one of the best things I ever heard from a playtester was one time we were playtesting it at a game store in Los Angeles, and this woman, Karen, said, you know, I don't think I'm funny, but this game made me feel funny. And I was like, yes! Karen, you get it! I knew I always liked you. Haha. Boy, I'm sorry the internet ruined your name, but you are all right in my book. In Curmudgeon, every player will have life cards in front of them and insult cards in their hand, and it is your job to use the keywords to throw down an insult on someone else's life card. Your voice is so annoying, I'm going to shove cheesy bread into my ears. Then you can get into retort battles, and all you have to do to continue the battles is match the symbol or the color. I make these videos about a lot of different games, and I try to stay pretty silly throughout them. But I do want to set the silliness aside just for a second and say a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who helped bring this game to market, and thank you to everybody who buys it or plays it or posts about it. I hope you really enjoy the game, and I hope it gives you some memorable laughs.
Hello! What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to 10 for 10. I have two hooligans here who shall be competing.
I'm a hooligan.
Hooligan.
There we go. Two hooligans. Fellas, I was looking on Board Game Geek, and I was trying to come up with an interesting topic to discuss here, games. And I saw that they have all those game families and game mechanisms, so I clicked around a little bit, and I settled on deduction games. Anything that they have cataloged as deduction game has some deduction in it. So what I did was I wrote down the top 10, the 10 that show up highest ranked, and they're saying deduction. And then I grabbed a bunch that are way, way down. Like I skipped at least 20 and I grabbed another 10, okay? So we're going to go through the list. I got them cut up in little papers here. I'm going to pull one out, and I'm going to tell you what the title is, and you guys are going to vote whether you think it's one of those top 10, or it's not. All right?
Well,
let's just start right there, fellas.
I'm very good at deduction games, so obviously
let's deduce this.
Let's deduce which is the one.
Here we go. By the way, I do need a coin flip for something else before we start here. This coin, I don't know if you can see it, says yes on one side.
And it says, I bet no.
On the other one. Tom, would you like to go first?
I'm so glad that it flipped yes when I asked Z to work for the Dice Tower.
Would you like to go first, Tom?
Yes, I would.
No, it says no.
No.
So, Bonacor, you're going to be first.
Thank you. That's disadvantage to go first, but okay, we'll go with that.
All right, here we go, guys. The first game is, let's take a look here. Look at that. It's a game called Dark Moon. You heard of it? Dark Moon.
We're asking if these are in the top 10 ranked social deduction games.
Yes, you're both going to tell me simultaneously, or write it down, or I don't care what you do. You're going to tell me whether you think it's in the top 10 deduction tagged games or
deduction
not.
Tag games. Deduction
Wait,
tag.
I don't understand this go first or not thing.
That's not that. Don't worry about that yet.
Oh. All right, hang on. I need to write a no and a yes down here.
That's right. So, Dark Moon, I believe a game published by Stronghold Games, if you guys have heard of them.
Phenomenal.
It was originally Battlestar Galactica, the dice game, but they couldn't publish that.
DSG Express. Even the designer didn't say Battlestar, but yes, it was certainly Battlestar Galactica. All right.
So fellas,
reveal.
See it. Is it in or out?
It is no. I put no. I'll get a little piece of paper too. So
that's
no.
Fine. Okay. No is correct.
No is correct.
No is correct. It is not in. It came up as the 70th game on the list in deduction. And again, you'll find that some of these are straight deduction. Some of them are party games with deduction. Some of them are going to be social deduction. Okay.
Right.
So you each have 1 point right now. You get 1 point for having said that correctly. Let's take a look at the next one.
Is that the amazing scoring system we're talking about here? You get a point when you get it right?
You get a point when you get it right, yeah.
Okay, amazing thought.
All right, next up, we've got Detective, a modern crime board game.
Ooh.
Detective,
right, I'm ready.
a modern crime board game. Is that in the top 10 or not in the top 10? Let's see them, fellas. What do you got? You're both saying yes. You are indeed both correct. Again, it is in. So you each have 1 point. And so I've got over here.
Can you pick a different answer
Detective.
than me, Mr. Monaco, that we could at least have a
All right,
different
here I go. Detective, a modern crime board game right here. I have it written down on a little sheet of paper. It's in the top 10, so I made a little sheet for it, right? A little 3x5, whatever, for it. And we have Bonacor going first. Now, Bonacor, would you like to take this, or would you like to give it to Tom? And here's what the scoring is, okay? There's 10. The top 5 are scored, would give you as points 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2 points. The bottom 5 are just a point apiece. And you guys are racing to 15 points. Whoever makes it to 15 points first is the winner. That's
Thank you for explaining the entire rules before we started the game. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Would it have mattered up to this point?
Not at all.
Then shut your face.
The audience might have wanted to know. I don't know.
No, you don't explain everything. Wait, so is he picking whether he wants to keep it or not?
Yes.
Picking whether he wants to keep it or give it to you.
But if it's a race, why would he not just keep it?
Ooh.
Because it's always the person in the back who's going to be picking when one comes up that's actually a top 10.
Oh, okay. Great.
Oh.
Not explained all.
Do I want to keep this or give it?
If you give this Tom, no matter what it is, it's at least a point, right? Next time one comes up, it'll be your choice.
I'm going to keep it. It's too risky to give it away. It's a great game.
Right.
Great game.
Detective, a modern crime board game is the number 9 in the top 10, meaning 1 point.
1
for
point.
you.
If it makes you feel better, I would have also kept it. So
for you, 3 points. Tom, you have 2 points. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do this. I'm liking the scoring.
It's going to be your choice whether you keep it or give it away. Here we go. Let's take a look at the next one here. I've got Alchemists. That was the top 10 or not in the top 10. Think about it. Like I said, I made sure, since it's kind of hard to know that, like I told you, the top 10 are the top 10, and then I skipped at least 20, in most cases more, before I got to the other ones. So that you're not like, so I'm not going to be like, oh, it's a number 11. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
All right, what are we thinking? Yes or no?
Yes.
You're saying yes. Indeed correct, fellas. That's a yes. 1 point for each of you. 4 for Bonacor. 3 for Mr. Tom Vassal. And I have Alchemists out here somewhere. Here we go. Tom, you're
that's interesting. So if I take it, we're definitely tied. And
at that point, if there's a tie, it's whoever's got the worst one out of the top 10. So it depends if this is like.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
feel Alchemist. I feel like has been rated very highly. I don't know how high, but I feel like it's in the top 500 at BGG. So I'm going to take it.
You're going to take Alchemists. Okay.
I am.
Alchemists is the number 5, or what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. It says here 2 points. Let me double check I did that correctly. 2 points.
All right. Okay.
Not bad.
I'd rather have that than give it away.
You are now leading, Tom. You are now.
I cannot allow this to happen.
Here we go with the next one, fellas. It is Code Names. Code Names.
I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Could I say yes twice? And I'm taking it.
I'm going to give you $1 if you give it to me.
Yeah.
You have now one
And
more point.
Add a few zeros to that, and we'll talk. I'm taking it.
Let me find it. And you are going to take it. All right.
Thank you for letting me win the game.
This is the number 2 answer, and it's 5 points.
Thank you.
So,
This time, I get to pick the next few, though, right? So probably
that's true.
The current sits at 3.
Luck of the draw on that one.
6 for Tom.
Catch-up mechanism. I like it.
Yeah.
Current score: 6 for Tom, 10 for Bonacor. Okay.
Thank you.
So it's first to 15.
So
if he gets the number 1, he gets it. So I gotta be careful here. All right.
Yes.
He just get the next 5 guesses correctly, right? If he does that, he could inch it out one at a time. I mean to say he should not win. What? All right, here we go. Next up, we've got Coup. Or for those people out there who like eating salmon, Coop.
I know that company too. Coop.
All right, guys. Coup. Is it in or out? Let's see it.
It's in.
You are both wrong.
Really?
This is number 35 in the top.
This is by the ranking. If we went by sales, part of Mr. Bonacor's retirement funded by Coup. Tell me I'm wrong.
That is quite a possible statement, yes.
But, fellas, nothing changes with that. You're still at the same scores. Here we go. Next up.
Pretty funny, Tom.
Yeah. Bang the dice game. Bang the dice game.
Oh, I know what Sam's picking. Oh, wait. I'm ready.
All right, Steven.
Ready. I went yes.
All right, Tom said no. Steven said yes. Tom, you have a point, my friend.
Oh. Yeah, I'm back.
7. Now you have 7 to Steven's 10. Bang the dice game is 42nd on the list. Steven, this is not how
Sam
you win.
Healy's heart.
This is not how you win. Here we go. Next up, Dead of Winter.
Thomas.
I'm ready.
Well, you both have to pick the thing. Yes or no. Don't forget.
Oh no, wait. He doesn't get it. Oh, okay. I thought.
You gotta guess. Oh, yeah. We don't even know if it's in.
10.
Oh, you got only the top. Right. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. What do we got?
Yes.
Of course, in absolutely yes and yes. We now have 11 points for Steven. Let me double check that. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes. Let me translate that to points, actually. 11 for you. 3, 6, 7, 8 for Tom. And then, Tom, would you like...
All right, so let me just think here real quickly. If I pick the number 4... if I pick the number 3 answer, that gives me 4 points, which will tie us up, which gives him the hammer. If I pick the number 1, that puts me ahead, gives him the hammer, but I might pull through.
It gives him the ability to do it because he has the number 9 answer right now. So the worst answer you have.
I guess I'm worried. I don't think it's number 1. That's my concern, but it could be number 3, but it also could be in the bottom 5. I'll take it. I'm just worried it's number 3.
I think
if it's number 3, I'm in trouble.
Okay. Well, it's number 6, Tom.
So 1 point.
Which is 1 point. Okay.
That's fine. That's okay because I still am behind. Then
It's still behind.
8.
You have Steven has 11. You have 9, Tom.
You are still in the catbird seat, as the expression goes.
I feel good about being behind here, though. Actually.
Well, that's the idea, right? If you can manipulate the game. All right, next up, fellas, 2 rooms and a boom. And a boom.
I'm ready.
Steven? At this point, you should have just written 1 yes and 1 no.
Yeah, all right, I'm ready. I know.
That is correct, fellas. 1 more point for each of
I
Steven.
like how you keep crossing it off.
to...
You even crossed off yes and wrote yes. What in the world? You could have just left yes on the card.
I keep crossing it off. Well, I'm going to continue now. Heck with you.
All right. Steven, you're only 3 points away from the win here.
That's the most important part.
Next up, we've got Chronicles of Crime. Chronicles of Crime. All right, fellas, what are we thinking? In or out? That is indeed correct. Chronicles of Crime is in the top 10. Let me grab that. Tom, would you like it, or would you like to give it away to Mr. Bonacore?
Well, it's not, again, it's not number 1. That's the problem. Oh, man. I'll take it.
Oh, you want it. You got it.
I love the game. I love the game.
Yeah, well, you got to take it, though.
Chronicles of Crime is number 8. You're going to be getting 1 point, Tom. That puts you at 11 to Steven's 12.
That's true. If I had given it to Steven, I would have put him at 13. That would have been a little too scary for comfort.
All right.
Of course, if I can keep getting a few more answers, I still might. He only is 2 away from victory, right?
Oh, yes.
3 away from victory.
Victory will be sweet once again.
All right. Here we go. The Resistance Avalon. The Resistance Avalon.
I am ready.
All right. See it? That is indeed correct, fellas. So, Steven, you go to 13 points. Tom, you have 12 now. You're still in the back of the pack, so it's your choice. Tom, the Resistance Avalon.
Resistance and the Resistance Avalon are both highly rated. I know this. I honestly think they're pretty close to almost being the same game. Usually, Avalon.
Let me just point this out as a point of clarity for the game here. If you take this and it happens to be worth a point, you are tied, and at that moment, then the person who gets to pick whatever the next one that happens to come up is whoever has the lowest rank out of the top 10. Now, Steven right now has the number 9 answer, which is the lowest on the board.
Of course, if this is number 10, though.
If this is number 10, it's still you.
Oh, Thomas, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I'm just trying to figure out what number 1 is, because I know Codenames is number 2. I don't think Resistance Avalon's above that, but Resistance Avalon's got to be up there pretty high. People love. I'm taking it. I don't care.
You got to take it. Got to take it, Tom.
You're taking it. It is number 7, Tom.
Oh, so close. So close.
You are both tied now at 13, with the tiebreaker going to Mr. Bonacore with the number 9 answer.
That's my fault.
Oh, yes. Oh, I taste victory.
Well, what if we both hit 15 at the same time?
Then whoever has the lowest one, again, that's the same tiebreaker.
Good tiebreaker.
Can I win
agree.
Here? Oh, I can win if he gets the next one 2 wrong. All right. I'm going to give you some clues, Steve, when it comes time. Go ahead.
All right, here we go, fellas. Spyfall. Spyfall.
Definitely in.
Now you get in my head.
I know it. That's my only hope.
He is playing poker with you, man. Here we go, fellas. What do we got? Okay, let's see him. He's saying no. You're both saying no. You are both indeed correct. All right? And that gets you to 14.
I need you to get this next one wrong, Steven.
Yeah, if he gets it wrong when you get it right, it's actually the only way for you to win this, Tom. Now.
I know it. I know how it works.
I got to get this one right.
Right. Okay, here we go. All right. It is werewords. Werewords.
Huh.
I'm ready.
Hang on.
All right, fellas, let's see him.
Ready?
Ready, Tom? Saying what?
He said insider. I said no.
Steven, you're also saying no, Steven?
Mm-hmm. What is Insider?
Insider is like the game kind of like Werewords.
Oh, that's a kind of a, yes.
Well, fellas, you're saying no, and you're both indeed correct. That is a no. That puts you both at 15.
Yes!
With Steven taking the tiebreaker for having number 9 in his pool. And Tom's lowest, he had the number 8 answer. Indeed, he did. He should have given away the Resistance Avalon. Of course, he didn't know that. And if it had been the number 1, he would have just handed over the victory. The number 1, however, Battlestar Galactica.
Got it. What was number 3?
Answer. And then you've got number 2 codenames. Number 3, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. One of them.
Oh, right.
Number 4, Decrypto. Number 5, you said Alchemists. Dead of Winter after that at number 6. You got number 7, The Resistance Avalon. 8, Chronicles of Crime. 9, Detective, which you had, Stephen. And then the last one, the one that if you would have grabbed, possibly squeaked out a win there, Captain Sonar at number 10.
Wow, very good.
I would have actually not even guessed that Captain Sonar was in the top 10.
Interesting.
Good game.
Still would have not gotten that point, but you still would have decided who it went to, right?
And here's the winning scorecard.
I like the scoring system, Z.
Very good.
Well, thank you, fellas. Stephen, congratulations. We'll play again next week. I'll just pick another category and we'll run through a few of them, you know?
Like it.
All right.
We got a couple more contributors, and then we'll end this show. Here we go.
Hey folks, Anthony here from Dad Boards. Let's check out today's topic.
Cooking.
You're cooking?
Cooking.
We're cooking, or at least pretending to cook. As you can see, our son AJ loves to pretend cook. It's one of his favorite things to do. He's always stealing our pots and pans out of the kitchen. So I thought, what is a game about cooking? Quacks of Quedlinburg, sort of, right? You're not cooking food per se in this game. Rather, you are brewing up a magical potion, an elixir of sorts that you will sell later for money and victory points. And then you'll be purchasing more ingredients and making more potions and elixirs and so on and so forth. This is a bag building game, so you're going to be adding ingredients to your pool of stuff throughout the game, and then pulling them out of the bag blindly and adding them to your score track here to see how robust of a potion you can make. The number on the ingredient that you pull out will determine how many spaces ahead on the track you put it. So you can keep pulling ingredients as long as you want. However, if you have too many of the white ingredients, the cherry bombs, your potion will explode. There's 5 reasons why I love Quacks of Quedlinburg. First is, this is a push your luck game. I just love push your luck games. They're super fun. Second reason, simultaneous play. All the players are pulling these ingredients out of their bags and putting them in their cauldron at the same time. That speeds up the game, makes it go fast. Number 3, a theme like this has legs. It's just begging for expansions. There's one out for sure, and I know there's a second one coming. I don't have either, but one is on my Christmas list, I'll tell you that much, which kind of leads into number 4. There's a lot of replayability in this game. Expansions aside, the base game, first of all, has 2 different sides of your player board, so there's 2 different ways to play. And then all of these different ingredients, the books here, are 2-sided, so there's 4 different mechanisms or 4 different ways to score those particular ingredients. Last thing is, love the artwork on this. It's goofy, it's fun. It's my favorite guy here, Carrot Monster. Thanks for watching, folks. Enjoy the rest of your breakfast. Keep cooking, and we'll see you next time.
This is a segment where we take a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match together. Today we're looking at Sin City. The first thing I have to say about Sin City, this is probably a mass market game at its time, but the components are really, really good. The little pieces you move around are like pewter metal. They're really, really nice, and the tokens are thick, and everything looks great. I do wish there was a little bit more artwork in the game. I do like stills. That kind of brings me in to what I'm doing, but I know they're a big turnoff for a lot of people. As for the game mechanisms, you're going to have 2 phases in the game, a setup phase and then an action phase. Setup is where you're just taking tokens, you're moving them around the board based on the rules that's provided. In the action phase, you're going to flip over an action card and do what it says. And it has a lot of luck that's involved in it, but where the game kind of shines, you have goal cards. And the goal cards will tell you how you want these tokens to be on certain spaces or around the board, and you will score points necessarily. If you score a number of gold cards and you're able to successfully complete them, then you will win the game. So the game works, and I think it looks really good. Do the IP and the mechanisms match? Yes, I think very highly indeed. Although the game is probably just a step up over mass market and a little bit below a gamer's game, if you will. It's a fine game. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. The more you enjoy Sin City, the more you will enjoy this, because the IP and the mechanisms do fit really, really well together. You're not playing any individual character from the movie. Instead, you're trying to move things around for the plot of the movie to happen, and that's a really fun experience. This is what I would say if you're a Sin City fan, you definitely should check out.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Join us for each of these every Thursday. Don't forget, we have a non-live breakfast that goes up on Mondays of each week. And, of course, many other shows will be going up. We got our 12 Games of Christmas. We'll continue. We got 2 more of those going up later today. And, of course, reviews and more. And some of us are also going to go lay by the pool, but others of us are going to work as soon as this is over.
Yes. A little cloudy today. I don't know. We'll see.
The weather is nice, finally. I can walk outside without breaking into a sweat. It's nice.
The weather has certainly cooled down a little bit, but it's been very rainy in South Florida this whole year. I mean, basically.
Oh, my word, yes.
It's been crazy rainy.
I just assume it's raining at any point. Someone says, is it raining? I just say yes. All righty, folks. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I'm the Podfather, Stephen Bonacore.
Have fun deducting.